Hello again. This is my third video for wrapping Kotlin code for B4A. As mentioned before in the earlier videos, this is more kind of a tutorial for developers who have already wrapped libraries for B4A. In this third video, I'm going to show you how to wrap a Kotlin library found on Github. And if you haven't seen the previous two videos, I suggest you to stop this video and watch the other ones, since the information and what I showed you in the previous two videos are very useful to know already before watching this video. So if you haven't done so yet, please stop the video and then come back to this video when you already watched the other ones. As I mentioned in the last video, this time we're going to wrap a library, a rating bar library written in Kotlin. So this is the library we're going to wrap. It's called Simple Rating Bar. It's written in Kotlin, and just an ordinary simple rating bar view. And I'm sure there are many similar ones on the forum already, but this is a good example to show how we can wrap a Kotlin library. We're gonna try it out later on in B4A, but we will just wrap it partially anyway, so it's just to give you an idea. So you can go here, this is the address where you can find it, and then you can clone or download it. I normally download a zip file, and as you can see, I have already downloaded before. So let us go to the folder where I downloaded it. Okay, I believe I put it here in Kotlin wrappers, and here we have it, simple rating bar master. So what I'm going to do is just simply extract it. And here it is. Within this folder there is the project for this library. So we're going to just open Android Studio, open an existing Android Studio project. I'm going to go to my folder Android Studio projects, Kotlin wrappers, and simple rating bar master, and I'm going to select the project file. And now Android Studio will be opening up this project. Since it takes some time, I'm going to pause the video and get back to you when it's ready. One note here, while it's still extracting and building and opening this library project, you might see a message from Android Studio telling you should update your Android Grader plugin. Depends on the cases, but in this case I'm not interested, so I'm just saying remind me tomorrow. Android Studio is still working, so I will get back to you as soon as this project has opened up. Okay, Android Studio has opened the project, and this is what you can see. Normally when you open an Android Studio project, there will always be an app module. In this case, since it's also a library, we have also the library here, which is called Simple Rating Bar, and this is actually the code we are interested in. The first thing I normally do is that I change and make sure that the Kotlin version that we are using, the latest Kotlin standard library, which at the time of recording this video is 1.2.31. So I'm going to change that, and I go to here to the project Gradle file, and you can see the Kotlin version here. So I'm just simply going to change it. 1, 2, 3, 1. Changing it will require me to sync the project again. So I'm just going to click on sync now. And when it's ready, I will get back to you. Okay. Android Studio has now modified the project, and all references for the Kotlin version is now pointing to 1.2.31. What I normally do when I download a library, this is not specific for Kotlin, it's for even for Java libraries as well, is normally that I try out the library. In this case we have the main activity, just like in the Java library project. In this case we have it in the app module. The thing is that very often you will find libraries posted on GitHub. You will find the library itself, and you will also find an app. And it's useful because in this way the author of the library has written a minimal sample app, so you can try it out. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to run this sample app, and also here the first time Android Studio will need some time to build it, compile it, and install the APK. So I will get back to you when it's ready. Okay, Android Studio has installed the sample app on my emulator, which I have running here. And as I said, it's a good way to see and check how the app is working using the library implemented. So in this case, for instance, clicking on change rating, it randomly changes a value in a simple bar here above. You can see that it's assigning a value randomly by looking at the code button change rating, which is this one, and it simply assigns a random selected value and assign it to the rating. Okay, I'm going to stop this app since we don't need it anymore. So just as you've seen in the other videos, it's very simple to create the AAR library, which we normally need to use in our wrapper. So what we do is that we simply select simple rating bar, and what I normally do is go to Gradle, simple rating bar module, build, and assemble release. I double click it, and Android Studio will be building the AAR library, and as you can see, it was built successfully. So what I normally do now, the first thing I do is to go here, let me see, okay, sorry, I would go to the project representation of all the files, select my library, and then on the build I go to outputs, and here is the library itself. We're going to look at it and explore at its location, because for simple library compiler, which I'm using to compile the B4A wrapper, we need a jar file which you can find inside the AAR library. So we're going to extract this into a folder, and here you can find the classes.jr library. We're going to copy it, and I'm just going to put it here next to the other one, and then I'm going to delete the folder I extracted. This library, simple rating bar release AAR, we are going to put into the additional library folder within B4A. You can rename it if you want, but in this case I was going to leave it. Depending on the library you are wrapping, if there are no drawables and so on, it might be enough just to use classes.jr, which you have seen also in Java libraries. But in this case, the simple rating bar library, it has also some resources, so we're going to be using this one. But still, we need the classes.jr extracted from this one for a simple library compiler. So I'm not going to leave this window open for later use. Now we're going to create our wrapper. What you could do if you wanted, let me go back to the Android representation. We could simply go here in where you have the sample app, and you can create a new package where you write your wrapper code, your wrapper library. But what I prefer normally is to create a new project. So I'm going to make a new project, and I'm going to call this B4A simple rating bar lib. In this case I don't need any Kotlin support. I'm just gonna go on. We're gonna just select the minimum API needed and so on. So we go to next, just standard, we create an empty activity. I'm just gonna leave this as the way it is and finish. As usual, this is going to take some time, so I'm going to pause the video and get back to you when it's up and running. Okay, the new project was created, and I still have open the old one. As you remember, we looked beforehand at the module in the original project, and I note here that the minimum SDK version is 19. But I think when I created the project for our wrapper, I left it at 17. So I'm going to show you how you can change the app module here to accept only SDK version 19. So let's open up the module app. Okay, it says here, it says minimum. Let me see here, sorry. No, it's alright. The minimum SDK version is 19, and also the library is 19. I got a bit confused, sorry about that. So anyway, we now have the wrapper project opened, and this is the main activity, which is getting created in default because it believes we're going to make an app here, but we can leave it the way it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a wrapper called Java class, and I'm going to call it B4A simple rating bar wrapper, and I just create it. What I normally do, I write end of class just to be sure. Okay, so this is just a basic structure needed for the wrapper, but we still need, of course, to import the AAR library for the simple rating bar from the simple rating bar project, and we also need to import the core library and the B4A shared library from B4A, and we also need to make a reference to the Kotlin standard library. So as you've seen in the other videos, we can use this button here, which is called project structure, or you can go to file, project structure, whatever you prefer. I just click it here, and in a moment we have only one module. So we're going to import the libraries. So I just click on the plus sign. In this case we go to this button here, this we select this part here which says import jar AAR package, and we look it up. So we can go to our simple rating bar master, which was the original library project. We go to simple rating bar, and as we saw before, on the build outputs AAR, we have our AAR library. So I'm just going to select this one, OK, and click finish. Gradle will start doing its things. In the meantime, I'm just going to add the other libraries as well. Okay, once it's been added, they are adding here as a module. So import also the B4A libraries we need next. So now I'm going to go to my B4A folder, basic for Android, libraries, I select B4A shared, finish. I also go and add the core library. Next, let's go back to our Anywhere software library folder. Here it is, and we're going to select core. OK, finish. It's still working here, so I'm just going to click OK for the meantime and let it work. Seems like it's finished. Sometimes you need to open up this, add the things, and I go back again. You can still see that the core library has not been added, but I think it will be after a while. So in the meantime, let's go to the app folder module, and when you see we need to add references here. So we go here to plus sign, module dependency, B4A shared. We're going to add the core library as well. Then of course the simple rating bar. You see while we do it, we're adding them. Sometimes on older libraries you can see it's written compile instead, but it was changed by Android Studio in a newer release, and now it's called implementation. We also need the Kotlin standard library, and we can take that from the Maven repository. So we click library dependency, and here we write Kotlin. I think it's written like this, standard lib, and here it is, it's the first one. So we're going to click OK, and then OK again. Gradle is going to continue doing its stuff, and it runs. So I'm going to make a pause here and come back when it's ready. Okay, we have now imported the libraries we needed, and we can see them here: B4A shared, the core, and the simple rating bar release. The Kotlin library you can see here instead. If we go to change the representation, look on the project, and you can find it on the external libraries, and we have it down here. Let me just switch back to the Android representation view. Okay. I will not sit here and show how to write a wrapper, because at this point the wrapper is in Java, and you can reference all the methods, the setters, and any member variables directly from your Java code. So before doing this video, I tried this wrapper out. So what I'm going to do is simply to copy the wrapper code I wrote previously and copy it into here. So I was going to do like this, and you can see everything is getting resolved correctly. It depends on the simple rating bar release, which you need to put in the additional library folders in your B4A directory, and you also need, it also depends on the Kotlin standard library, which you also will need to put into the additional library folders. Then I'm just going to copy the rest of the class. Like this. Okay, I copied wrong, so it was actually called wrapper, but it's just standard Java, as you all know. and there are no red indications. That means that everything was recognized and resolved. This is the designer code, which I put into a region, so I just normally put it like that. Basically, we are in, since this is a view, I'm using the view wrapper. I'm referencing the simple rating bar, and then it implements the designer custom view. You have the initialize method. Here is the simple rating bar object. I'll make a new instance of it, and so on. Just ordinary code for wrapping a view. So at this point, I just save it just to be on the safe side, and let's try it out. So in order to gain some time, I've already created a folder here, which we're going to be using with the simple library compiler. And as you know, it's just composed of a libs folder and a source folder. So I'm going to take this my wrapper code here and copy it into this folder. So the simplest way I find it is just click on this one, show in Explorer, and I got the two Java classes here at the moment. I just go to Java, copy the folder com, and then I go back to the folder I created before, and I just paste it into here. So we have com, my package name is Soft, B4A simple rating bar lib, and of course we don't need the main activity, so I'm going to delete that one. But here is the code we used before. So at this point we can no, we also need to copy the library, sorry. So we will go here. I already have still open the location where we had our simple rating bar release IAR, and that's why, and also classes.jr library, and this is the one we need to use, the simple library compiler, which I already told you before. So I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to put this one into the libs folder. In here we also need to put the Kotlin standard library, and the easiest way to do that, unless you don't already have it somewhere else, is to go to the original project. Now you should be able to find it here as well. We can go back to, in our wrapper project, go to project mode, external libraries, and here we have it, it's Kotlin standard. So we just unfold it, click on it, show in Explorer, and here it is. We copy it, I close this one, and we go back to our standard library folder, and I just put it here along the classes.jr library, and I paste it. At this point I think we should be good to compile it. So let's go back to my folder, simple library compiler, and here is the simple library compiler app. So we're going to browse for the location of the folder. I have it in downloads. Unfortunately, I need to move that in the future because there are many of them now. So simply library compiler under tutorials, and it should be this one, Kotlin simple rating bar. Okay. And we need to give it a name, B4A simple rating bar. And if everything goes right, it should be get compiled now. And it seems it looks okay. So now I'm going to create a B4A sample project, and I will get back to you when I've done that. Okay, I'm back. What I simply did is that I created a empty B4A project. I call it B4A sample simple rating bar. So as usual, okay, one thing we need to do, which I'm not sure if I did, is that we still have to go to our AAR library, a copy simple rating bar, release AAR, and put it into our additional library folders. Here you can see that the simple library compiler has already created the XML file and the JR and the JR library. What you also have to remember is to copy the Kotlin standard library. I already did it since I had earlier projects. At this point we should be able to run it, so or write the code in B4A. So just go to library manager. I refresh it just to be sure. Let's go to B4A. I think it was called B4A. Let me see where I put it. Simple rating bar, okay. And it's selected. Okay. So since this is the view, we just open the designer. First thing I'm going to do about activity, I'm just going to change the color to white. Okay. Then we're going to add custom view, B4A simple rating bar. I'm just going to put it here somewhere. And let's put the anchors both to left and right. Okay, that looks okay. I'm going to add a button. Call it button change rating, and we can give it a name, change rating, like that. This one, let's generate this declaration, and the same for the button. We also add a click event. At this point I think we can save it. I'm just gonna call it 1, and we've done that, and you can see they've been added here to the project. So at the bottom we're going to change a rating, giving it a random value, more or less the way we saw the example app when we ran it in Android Studio. So let's write dim rating as int, and dim rating as int, give that a random value 0.6, and then B4A simple rating bar, which we can see here, and here we can see all the methods, functions if you want it, since it's Kotlin, and we're looking for set rating, and we just pass on the rating variable we assign to it, and we can log it as well, so we can see it here. Okay, rating is an int, and B4A simple rating bar, the set rating actually takes a float, but B4A will cast it. So at this point we can try the app. Let's get the emulator up and running as well. Of course, I forgot to add the layout. Sorry, things like that happens. Let's try it again. Okay, and it's up and running. So if we click this button here, change rating, it should randomly assign a value to the stars here. 3, You can see that from the log here as well. 3, 2, 1, 0, 0 again, 5, and so on. So it seems like the library is working correctly. I'm also going to change to show you how we can modify the original Kotlin code. Okay, as I said, it could be useful sometimes, at least I do that often, that in the original code, which we have here, I might add my own functionality directly into the original library. This time sometimes it's necessary because maybe you might want to change something, or as I said, you might want to add your own functionality, and you cannot always do that in the wrapper. So you might have to modify the original code. And okay, Kotlin is new for many of us and also for me, and but I just want to show how we can do that. So for instance, we're going to insert a function here, which is a method in Java. I just call it, say, hello from Kotlin. And the type string. And we're going to return message hello B4A from wrapped Kotlin library. And of course, putting it here in the original library class, we can then call it from our wrapper. As I said, maybe writing your code in Kotlin is something not that easy at this point, unless you sit down and learn it and so on. So we can actually do something else if, as you probably are more proficient in Java. So what we could do, we could actually just make another class which extends the simple rating bar, and we can do that one in Java. So we can write familiar Java code. So I'm going to do like this: new Java class, since it will be written in Java, and I'm just going to call it simple rating bar extended. And this is just a normal Java code. And we're going to extend the simple rating bar, which is in Kotlin. But we've got to get some messages here. It says there is no default constructor, so we just use Android Studio to help us out, to write it for us. Create constructor, and we just add the first one here. But we still have an error. It says they cannot inherit from final simple rating bar. The thing is that normally Kotlin classes, they are made final by default. So what we have to do, we have to go and change simple rating bar class, and we're simply going to put the keyword open. Then it's not final any longer. And if we now go back to our simple rating bar extended, you can see we don't have any error. In this case, you can just make another call here, another method. So we can call it public string say hello from Java within Kotlin, and we'll return a string hello B4A from Java within Kotlin. And now we have simply extended the Kotlin class in Java, adding a constructor, and then also making sure to make the class not final, and we do that by indicating it as open. At this point we can rewrite our wrapper, but first of all let's create a new AAR library. So as before, we just go to Gradle, we go to assemble release and let it execute. And Android Studio is doing its job, it's doing its stuff, and hopefully we'll be ready soon. And the build was successful. So now let's go to project view. Let's open a simple rating bar library like we did before, the build, outputs, and then let's go to the folder. Because since the classes has now changed, we need also to use these new libraries. So we're going to delete the old one here. As before, we're going to extract the AAR library because we need the classes. I just copy it and I paste it here. And then we delete the extracted class. Okay, we now have a new AAR library. So we can go back to our wrapper library, which we have here. And what we're going to do now, because since this one probably still have in memory the old one, we're going to simply remove... no, we can do like this first. We go here to the project structure, we go to dependencies and remove simple bordering release, and just remove it like this and then OK. And then we will go to this folder where we had the old AAR library, and I'm just going to delete this part here. Delete it in this way. Just to be sure, I'm going to make sync with file system. And as you can see now, we have a lot of errors, and that's normal. So let's go back. We add our library, the new one we created. Next. Simple rate bar master. Here's the library module. Build. Outputs. And here it is. And then we say finish. And Gradle is working, and we'll add a module. We will go to dependencies and we will now add the simple rating bar release module. And we've added. And now Gradle will be working a little bit. Sometimes you can get error message like that, but normally let it. It seems to have finished, but we still have some errors not really recognized yet. And there's a simple reason for that, because it's not called it might be because we still have to let me see, file, and we have to sync project with Gradle files. Still doesn't like it. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna do like this. We're gonna try to clean the project. And see if it fixes the problem. These things happen sometimes, and you have to sync the project. You might have to actually close the file and then reopen it again. Main. Still not happy. So let's go back again to dependencies. Okay, it didn't apparently it didn't save it, so let's go re-add it again. I'm glad this happens here while recording, because these things happen sometimes with Gradle. You need to resync it and so on. Okay, now everything is fine. You can see there's nothing right here, but of course we're not going to use the simple rating bar now. We're going to use the extended one. So if we write here, we should have simple rating bar extended. And we need just to change a little bit in our code. That should be it. Since simple rating bar extended inherited all the classes and methods from the original one, we do have all the methods and setters we had before, but we should have now. We can add two things in the wrapper: public string. We can call this say hello from Kotlin, and what I'm going to call now is the method we added in the original simple rating bar written in Kotlin. So we're going to return a string, get object, and it was called say hello from Kotlin. Here it is. In addition, we're going to also add the other methods which we wrote in the extended class. Say hello from Java within Kotlin. And here we return say hello from Java within Kotlin. So as you can see now, this code here is actually from the library, from the simple rating bar written in Kotlin, while this is from the extended class written in Java. So at this point we're just gonna change the version here, and I'm just gonna save it, and I'm gonna copy the code, and I'm gonna go to our simple library folder, tutorial, Kotlin simple rating bar, source, com, and I'm just going to copy over what we just changed into the class file. I'm just going to save it. Okay, we also of course have to replace the libraries within, not the Kotlin standard library, but the classes jar. So let's go and get the classes which we have here, and we copy it and replace the old one, paste it. And while being here, before forgetting it, let's take the simple rating bar release, which has also been updated, and put it into our additional library folder and replace the existing one. At this point we can recompile, so we'll take our simple rating bar and just compile it. Okay, we have now created version 0.2 of the library. So let's open up our B4A project again. Let's go to the libraries and just refresh, and we now have version 2. And we should now here have those two extra methods. We can just call it log B4A simple rating bar, and if we look here we should have say hello from Kotlin. This one is written directly in the simple rated bar class written in Kotlin, and this is from the extended one. Say hello from Java within Kotlin. They both return a string, so if we run this now we should see these strings in the log file. So we're just gonna get the emulator up and run it. And if we look now here at the logs, we do have hello B4A from a wrapped Kotlin library, and hello B4A from Java within Kotlin, which is the extended class. So if you need to modify the original sources in Kotlin and you find Kotlin a bit difficult, you can actually, not always, but very often, you can extend the original Kotlin class, just making sure, since it's a final class, to write the keyword open before the class and in the class signature. And then you can add in Java and the functionality you wish. And doing it in Java might be easier for you. Okay, the video is rather long. It might have been better if I would have divided it in 2 parts, but hey, that's the way it worked here. I hope you liked this mini series of tutorials, and will help you guys to don't be afraid of wrapping Kotlin code, classes or libraries which you find on the internet, for instance, and you like to make them available for B4A. I think they will increase in the future, so it could be good already now to get to know how to do it. Okay, and best of luck. Good luck.